After reading about one of the empires and then discussing with the rest of your groups the other empires, I wanted to make sure you had an understanding of the overview of all of the West African kingdoms and also some of the details that you'll need to know. So I thought I would do it with a PowerPoint. First of all, here is a map of Africa's kingdoms and empires. They all didn't exist at the same time, but you can see the map showing where Ghana, Mali, and Songhay were. You'll also see that in the modern country of Ghana, there was an empire called the Ashanti Empire, and there are still actually leaders of the Ashanti Empire that are alive and ruling in Ghana as well. So they have these tribal structures along with the actual government that they have in place. So the ones that we're going to talk more about are Ghana, Mali, and Songhay that are up in this region. And then at the end of this PowerPoint, I'm going to talk a little bit about a project you're going to be doing in the library with research skills. But first, let's go to the Kingdom of Ghana. So Ghana was most known for having gold. It was rich with gold. There were all kinds of gold mines available, and the thing that they traded for was salt. So you can see in the picture, the camel is carrying salt right here. Salt comes out of salt mines, and it comes out in these big slats. So the table salt that you use on your food isn't what salt really looks like when it comes out of the ground. So really, Ghana exists for over 700 years, and it exists because of trade. And we talked about it in class. Trade was the most important thing. The word Ghana means warrior king, and Ghana was known to be powerful because it had a warrior king, and because it had a king that he built a large army, he controlled trading, and he taxed the people that came to trade. So that's how Ghana made all this money, was by taxing the people that came into the kingdom to trade. The group that attacked them were a Berber group, and a Berber group just means they're a group of nomads. These were the Almoravids. They captured Ghana's capital, which was called Kumbi Saleh, and eventually, and the reading talks about in more detail than you really need to get into, eventually the land that was Ghana is taken over by the Mande people, and they establish a kingdom of Mali. So next up, after Ghana declines in 1076, there were a couple of hundred years of disorganization where no one was really in control. One group wasn't in control. There were a bunch of different groups that were fighting for control of the area. But eventually, it was the Mande people that took over control of Mali. Sundiata Keita was the one who actually beat out all the other kingdoms and warriors in trying to establish the kingdom. So in 1230, the Kingdom of Mali is established, and it's the whole, I've told you about the land is money is power, and in this case, it's the way you gained wealth and power in West Africa was by controlling the gold and salt trade because of taxes. I've said it 100 times, I'll say it again. It's because they had the ability to tax that they made this money. People would enter into their kingdom to bring salt or to bring other goods to trade for gold, and then they would charge for that. Eventually, Sundiata Keita dies, and he is succeeded by Mansa Musa. And as good of a king as Sundiata Keita was, Mansa Musa was better. He is the one that, if you ask somebody who knows a little bit about West African history, he's the one that they will know. He valued higher learning. He set up centers of learning in Gao and Timbuktu, and this building that you see in this picture right here is a mosque at Timbuktu. And actually, they have a ritual ceremony every year where they climb up onto the sticks that are sticking out of it, and they repack the dirt and the sand onto the mosque to make sure that it stays structurally sound. Mansa Musa was actually known around the world. You can see in this picture right here, this picture is a snippet of this huge world map picture that shows world leaders from around the world. So if you actually Google Mansa Musa, this is one of the most popular pictures that comes up, and it's just a piece of a whole other picture of the world. He was known around the world because of one thing that he did. He actually travels across the Sahara Desert, and he brings 60,000 people with him, also hundreds of camels, and it's other people start to notice, of course, because you're going to with that many people and that many camels, and they notice this man, and they want to find out more about Timbuktu. They want to find out more about Mali, and that's how Timbuktu becomes this huge center of learning. The mosque was built by a Spanish architect. Mali adopts the religion of Islam. So Mali is a Muslim religion, whereas Ghana is not. Islam hadn't spread across the Sahara Desert at this point, but Mali becomes a Muslim empire. And actually, one of the reasons that Islam spreads into Africa is because of the gold and salt trade. Camels carried goods, and they also carried people who brought the religion of Islam. So it's really because of the gold and salt trade that Islam spreads into West Africa. Today, this is what Timbuktu looks like. You can go there, you can visit it. It's this big city in the desert. So, just like happened with Ghana, Mali also declined over a period of time by being invaded by outsiders, by Berbers. The next kingdom that rises up in this area is the kingdom of Songhay, which you can see right here, encompasses pretty much all of the territory that belonged to Ghana and to Mali, and it was a man named Sunni Ali who took over. He was the one to drive out the Berbers that had taken over from Mali. He had a professional army. He used the professional army to go to other villages and take over that land so that he could continue to expand the power, because even still here, land is money is power. The more land he had, the more people he could control, and that could also lead to more money for him. After Sunni Ali, there was another man that we won't worry about, but then it was Sunni Ali's son. I'm sorry, skip that. Sunni Ali's son we won't worry about. The next leader that we want to be worried about is Askia Muhammad, who comes as the third leader after Sunni Ali. He continues to teach Islam, follow the Islamic teachings. The Songhay Empire is also a Muslim empire. There were Islamic teachers who came and writers who settled in Timbuktu because Askia Muhammad was the leader in Songhay who encouraged scholars to come to Timbuktu also. It falls in 1591, that's why you see this ending date here, to invaders from Morocco, so other Berbers, because after Askia Muhammad died, it was leaders who were not as strong as him who took over. What you'll find repeatedly over world history is that if a strong leader is succeeded by weak leaders, the kingdom's going to decline because weak leaders can't control a large territory. And as you see, Songhay was a very large territory at this point. So that's it for the 3 West African kingdoms that were really strong in African history. So what you're going to be doing in the library on Tuesday and Wednesday with Mr. Schumacher is you're going to be researching some modern countries of West Africa, and you're going to be comparing them to these ancient kingdoms. So you're going to be comparing them to the fact that these kingdoms are Muslim, to the fact that the kingdoms had a lot of money. Their main export was gold. They did a lot of farming and trading, but it was really this gold and salt trade that made them so important. So you're going to be comparing what you've read about, comparing this lecture, these PowerPoints, to what are these countries like today? Are they trading countries? Do they have main exports? Are they well off? Are they well known? What's important to them? So I will see you in class on Tuesday. Please make sure you take the quiz in Schoology when you're finished watching this video. Thank you.